Hello, eRank. Oh, that was very abrupt. Uh, Welcome to our Thursday's Q&A. Yeah, it's been a week with me, Pam Duffy, and her. You're that side of me just now. I don't know. Her, Stella Moore. This is, if it's your first time here, welcome. So good to see you here. This is our weekly, basically, where we answer all your Etsy and eRank related questions, or all of them that we can. So if you have any questions, get them in the chat. And hello, Starla.
Hello. We've got a couple questions already, and we have some fun news from Etsy yesterday that we're going to cover. There was a subpar Etsy webinar earlier today that probably left more confused than it solved.
Yes.
So it's been a crazy week. Lots of stuff going on.
Yeah, I feel the last 24 hours or so have been about a week in themselves.
Yeah.
I was going to say, could we nap this afternoon? And then Etsy just kept sort of landing extra things on me. There was so much.
We've got lots to talk about, so that's exciting. While we're waiting, though, we'll wait for a few more people to get on to the chat before we cover Etsy's big announcement from yesterday. But we will go ahead and answer the two early bird questions that came into the chat a few minutes ago from Art Studio 360 and Jenna. Let's see, Art Studio 360.
Oh, sorry.
You're fine.
I was getting stuff ready for later. I didn't know it would jump straight in. Yep, sorry. Back
Pam's
to that.
very excited. So Art Studio 360 had asked, when entering a keyword, is there a way to ask for yesterday, or are the results only based on the past 30 days? Not when you're entering a keyword, because our data, we get that data monthly, but we do have a cool trend tool where you can go and click. There's like a little flame icon that says hot at the top of your eRank screen. And you can see what the hottest terms on Etsy were yesterday, but our data comes in monthly. So it's usually, it used to be like closer to the third of the month, but we've gotten so quick at it now that it's usually in there on the first.
Yeah, the team's getting faster. It used to be mainly the delay was them having to go in and remove some rude words because we know what you're searching for. But that's much quicker. But yeah, I'm assuming you're asking in the keyword tool, and as Starla says, that's given us the past full month's data. We can't quite go all the way granular to daily for sort of all of those keywords because there's just not enough data as well. So you're best looking in on your dashboard. You can see what's hot there as well, or hit the little flame icon and you'll see the really big keywords because we have enough data for them.
Yeah. And a lot of it, I mean, to be perfectly honest, most of it isn't like super useful to, for actual keyword optimization, but it's cool to keep an eye on what products to make. If you notice that, oh, there's a new core, grandpa core popped up out of nowhere. That's the newest one. Last year it was crustacean core. But if you're one of those people who likes to stay on top of those weird trends that pop up out of nowhere, it's a pretty useful tool.
Exactly. It's nice to see the trends over time. It's not the trend buzz. I don't see that as a keyword tool sort of for most of us. All our shops are a bit too little to be jumping on that top level trend, but it's a good place to drill down. I mean, bracelets hit the monthly trend last month, and when I clicked on it, there's some cool up and coming keywords like couples bracelet. If you sell jewelry and you can make bracelets, couples bracelet is a great little upsell, as well as there's not too much competition, so it's really cool.
Yeah, not to mention, for example, I've got a really niche shop where we focus on officially licensed merchandise for authors. So most of the things in the trend buzz don't apply to me, but I will notice if every other term is related to a sweatshirt. I'm like, okay, t-shirts are out right now, sweatshirts are in. We need to make sure that our next collection is mostly sweatshirts. And that's been working really well for us. So even if the sweatshirts that are trending have nothing to do with our industry, we see that sweatshirts in general are more trendy. So that's also way that you could use the tool. Don't use it if it is a trend that just really contrasts with your industry. You don't need to jump on it. You drive yourself crazy just trying to ride every single trend.
It has been actually super interesting looking at those trends for how t-shirts and sweatshirts are moving about. You would expect summer t-shirt, winter sweatshirt, but it's not always exactly like that, is it?
No, and I've noticed that sweatshirts they start trending at the end of summer, which is very, I think people wishful thinking, right? They're excited for the idea of fall. Jessica said, I like how your hair matches the champion logo on your sweatshirt. I didn't even know. I had no idea until I got on camera that my shirt perfectly matches my hair today.
Yeah.
I wasn't even paying
Starla's
attention.
so good at branding that she changes her hair for every jumper she's got, every sweatshirt.
Oh, it would be fried if that were the case. And Jenna, you've got hair that matches mine. I don't know if you're still here, but your hair looks to be the
She
same color.
does, yep. Let's see if I can pop Jenna's question up anyway. But yeah, she does match you.
Putting you on the spot. Is there a way to see, is there a way to search for competitor shops that sell a specific item so you could put them in your competitor list? Like junk journals. I believe last I heard, we were working on ways to get a little bit more, allowing users to refine their competitors a little bit more and make it easier for you. I don't know how far into development that is. That could just be like by the end of 2024 we want to do that. That's how most things at eRank are. We give Anthony and the smart people and on the developer team a big list of things that we would love to see, and then they've got this pile and they're like, where do we start?
Yeah, it's so crazy though. We hear of two different things that they're thinking of making, and we're sitting here going, they sound really cool. One of them will be released and out within 2 days, and the other one will be a year.
Yeah.
And we're just as excited about both of them. So I have no idea how long anything takes. Myself and Starla and Debbie and that, we just go, hey, wouldn't this be cool? And sometimes it just happens, and sometimes it's apparently we've sent them a really massive job to do.
You can go into the keyword tool and pop in, I would get kind of specific, if it's junk journals and if it's like a specific style, maybe it's like, I don't know, lace Victorian junk journal, or whatever your I don't know a lot about junk journals. So whatever your very specific junk journal is, I would try to get like a great long tail keyword into the keyword tool and then scroll down. And what tab is it in?
I'm sure there's top listings.
Yeah, top listings. That would be a good way to pull up some of the top ranking listings for that term. And then you could always go in and find that shop, because we'll tell you what the shop name is. And you could, kind of narrow down on who the top people for that industry are, or the top ranking, shops for that specific keyword. So that's a way to do it. It's just not in the competitor tracking tools. You would then have to take that shop name and pop it into your competitors list. So it's like adding an extra step, but it's ultimately going to accomplish the same thing.
Oh, there we go. Yep. So I just went into the keyword tool and put junk journals and scrolled down to top listings. And like Starla says, there you see the top listings ranking for it. And you can see this is the shops that they all are. So just having a look at what you see that seems similar to your kind of thing. And also when you're doing the keyword research, having a look and seeing, are there kind of shops that come up often, you really start to recognize them. And that's a good one too. Be like, yeah, that must be a good one. But yeah, the more sort of niche, without going too niche that there's no search volume in the keyword tool, but the more niche you can get your keyword, the more likely you're going to get the competitors that are more at a level than you. If you, like, if we go back to jewelry, if you just put in something like ring and looked at the top listing, the shops of the top listings ranking for that, they're not going to be most of our competitors. But if you went right in and lace junk journal, I know nothing about junk journals really, but if you found a slightly more niche keyword and found the listings that were good for that, then they're more likely to be your actual competition.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and do the last two questions that are in the chat, and then we will pop in and talk about the announcement from Etsy. Let's see. I would like to ask you, if I put multi-word tags, do they have to make sense, or can it be just two keywords connected that I want to aim at, not in the exact order? Yeah, you can do that. That's what we recommend. It's better than having a one-word tag. I can usually get 8 good tags that make sense. And then after that, I'm just like, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, sister, brother. Like, I'm just putting random things in, because either way you're going to broad match for any possible weird combination. If you're selling lace junk journals and you've got lace junk journals as a tag, and then you've got grandma, grandpa, then you could technically broad match for lace junk journals for grandma, even if they're in totally separate tags. So I'd say it's totally fine to make some crazy nonsense tags. Everybody does.
I think that's the best way to go, really. I don't see any benefit for anybody sitting spending hours on keyword research to find 13 perfect keywords to use in your tags. That's a really waste of your time, because there are no perfect keywords. There are ones you go, right, I'm going to try and practice with those, see how they work, test them, launch them in your listing. So you find the few that you think will work in, a 10 minutes keyword research, pop them in your listing. You don't have to, but I like to put them in my tags as an exact match or the best I can. That gives you a slight boost in Etsy ranking, but once you start getting sales, that's not really all that important. But also because I have a terrible memory. And then that reminds me, these were the ones I was hoping to rank for. So when I go into eRank, I can save them as my superstar keywords. I can pop them into Rank Checker. I can see how they're doing. But after that, yeah, random. It doesn't have to be keywords, just random words that might be related to your item, what material it is, what kind of people it can be a gift for, how they would use it. Put in all the words you can think of. 2 or 3 months later, come back, look at your stats and see if people found you for keywords that you hadn't thought of. And then maybe in your next listing, you can say, hey, I'm going to try that keyword that I hadn't thought of as my superstar keyword. And I'm going to make up, let Etsy help me make up some more.
Yeah. And in terms of keeping track of those terms, I also do it in my keyword lists, and I make sure that terms that I've kind of split up in weird ways, I will color code them. With our different color flagging systems, you can add little color flags to your term. So if it's one that I know that I've split up in a bunch of weird ways, I'll go in and add specific tags. Or if it's something that I know that I want to try to exact match for every time because it's just such a good keyword, I'll make sure that I've got the green color flag, because I'm like, yes, green light, go, good term.
Yeah, those flags are cool. And also in your keyword list, you can even write little notes to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to use that more often as well, because I'm awful. I'll start doing things and I'll start with the flags, and I'll have a plan for what each of the colours mean, and I'll forget what I just did. So you can leave notes as well. You could even make a note of, I've tried it in these listings, I'm practicing it here, or everything to yourself. Or quite often what I'll be doing is make sure you check on these coming up to Christmas because they were good keywords.
Yeah.
That's always a nice one. So yeah, we love keyword lists.
Speaking of keyword lists, Carol asked, is there a way I can copy my keyword list from the bulk keyword tool once I have my list toggled to where I want it?
From the bulk keyword, I don't think I'm following quite there.
Do you mean copy your keyword list that you currently have and place it in the bulk keyword tool to double check it? Or do you mean taking the terms that you've entered into the bulk keyword tool and putting them in a keyword list? If you're the bulk keyword tool, once you pull up those search results for those terms, you can just quickly like boop, 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 and click all the stars. So if that's the question, that's easy enough because you can just like go straight down the list and hit all the stars after you've searched for them. But for the other way around, I guess, no, I was going to say she could technically go in and use the tag builder and add them all in and then copy all the tags and paste them into the bulk keyword tool, but it wouldn't separate them out by line. It would separate them out by comma, and then that might not work.
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
She said, "Oh, is that an aha moment? Did we answer that correctly?"
But yes, here's some terms I've just put into a bulk keyword list. That is the right tool. Yeah, bulk keyword tool. And you can see beside them, there's little stars. And if I click on any of them, if we look at the number down here, it says 20 out of 100. When I click on this star and it goes gold, it's 21 out of 100, which means I've moved that term dog into my corgi and bookmarks keyword list.
We can't see the list because her comment's on top of it.
Oh, right. Typical. Yeah. Okay. So you can't see it, but it's there's a little blue thing at the bottom, and that's my keyword list. And it's just when you click on any of the stars, it saves to your current active keyword list. And with the little blue bar on the bottom left, you can change into different keyword lists if you want them somewhere else. And I suppose you could just click and highlight and copy.
Yeah, she said I wanted an easy way to get the high ranking tags into my listings on Etsy. If you go into your keyword list, Pam, can you pop open one of your keyword lists? You can build your tags, but you might want to edit them because a lot of the times these are going to repeat words. And you don't need to repeat words in your tag section unless you're really aiming for an exact match, but you can go through and select them like Pam just did and add them into the listing builder where it says listing tags. And then you can copy it all with one click and paste it directly into your tag section. And you only have to paste one time and they'll all paste in. But if, for example, Pam's got bookmark cat, bookmarks, you don't need to repeat the word bookmark over and over and over again. So that's like the one flaw of using the listing tag builder. I find it best to just kind of type them in by hand. It really doesn't take that long,
Yeah, you can play around, but there's a couple of things here as well. So I've checked these, and every time I check a new one, and anywhere you're on eRank now, if you see these little check boxes, you'll see, I don't know if you'll better see it on the screen, but at the bottom, you get a little tiny blue thing that says copy. In this, I've highlighted 5 things. So it says copy 5 tags. So that will just automatically copy to my clipboard so I can paste that anywhere.
They can't
or
see
also
that
okay. Loving technology. But trust me, try it out for yourself. There's a little button down here that says copy to clipboard, or this bright orange thing, add tag to listing builder, and you can see they turned up here. And we also have very, very tiny, but a little, I could copy all the tags that I've put up here, so you can copy them, and then you can copy and paste them wherever you want.
Yeah, and Eileen had said, so you can have different keyword lists / tags per category. For your keyword list, you can make your keyword list whatever the heck you want it to be. You can put whatever you want in there. You make that. You get to pick.
Exactly. They're your lists. And I think everyone has access. A free account gets 1 list, I think. Yes. And the further up the accounts, you get more, but you can do whatever you want with your keyword list. You can just have it as a place that you dump ideas. You could have different lists for different types of listings, like maybe different sections in your shop. I generally, in January, I'll make up a list for all the keywords that worked for me last year. All sorts of things.
Yeah, I've got one of like hot trends where things just spike out of nowhere. Because we license with authors, I have a keyword list for every author. So there, but you can do it however you want to. You could even do one of terms to never use if you want that. Awful terms, never use these.
Well, we have a red flag. You could add a flag in red if you don't like them. And you don't just have to click star to take keywords that you find on eRank. You can type in keywords and manually add them. So there might be something that's not showing up anywhere on eRank. Nobody's searching for it enough, but you're like, I just want to remember that term. That's important to me, even if it's not quite a good keyword yet.
Yeah. All right, we will do Jezza Designs because I think that it's relevant and a good segue into our 2 updates. Jezza Designs had asked, Etsy head of Google SEO today said not to duplicate a listing. If I delete the duplicate listing, will the people who have favorited that listing receive a not available message? Can I redirect them? So a couple things. We're talking. We don't have anything official, conclusive for you yet. Don't rush to change a bunch of stuff based on the webinar today. There are 2 things to remember about that webinar. First of all, you are selling on Etsy, not on Google. It is very unlikely that a majority of your traffic is coming from Google. It's coming from Etsy. What we need to remember is that Google's algorithm is very different from Etsy's algorithm, and people are shopping on Google specifically. It looks like you sell jewelry. So on Google, you are competing against every other person who sells jewelry on the internet that's being indexed by Google. It's going to be very, very difficult for you to compete on Google. Whereas on Etsy, it's a lot easier to compete because there are lots of different cool filters, and Etsy is matching products to customers based on their unique shopping habits, and you're more likely to get those sales. So my opinion until we have something direct, because Anthony is going to be analyzing that webinar. This was Etsy's head of Google search, but as Pam, pointed out earlier, he does not work for Google. He works for Etsy, which means just like we don't work for Etsy and we don't know exactly how Etsy's algorithm works, he doesn't work for Google and he doesn't know exactly how Google's algorithm works. And a lot of the things that he taught today were for Google's algorithm, not Etsy's algorithm. So I would not make a bunch of changes based on the things that we've learned today, because a lot of what he said directly contradicts Etsy's ultimate guide to search, which should be your Etsy SEO Bible. I was very confused as to why he told everybody today not to target long tail keywords in your tags. That is absolutely bonkeroos to me, and I feel
especially because tags only have 20 characters and you can't put long tail keywords in them anyway.
Right. I'm so confused. I mean, but he said use multi-word tags, but don't use long tail keywords. That's what a long tail keyword is. Like, I feel like we could do that webinar better. But Anthony's going to analyze it, and he's going to fire off some questions. His words, he said, I'm going to fire off some questions to Etsy. And again, follow Etsy's ultimate guide to search. The way that I think that Ratish probably understands Google SEO very, very well, but we're not selling on Google. And how often are you guys getting a bunch of traffic from Google? You can go into your Etsy search analytics, or no, not search analytics beta, your Etsy stats right now, and you'll see SEO and marketing and Etsy search. Those are 2 of your different types of traffic.
That's what I was going to ask right now. Yeah. For everyone who's got their finger on the pulse, let us know in the chat how much, roughly a % of your traffic that comes from Google, and then we'll see how important it is to follow the advice for Google. For me, very little.
Right, but make sure that you're reading it correctly too, because the marketing and SEO, that's Google. If you see marketing and SEO, that's not Etsy SEO. Etsy SEO is Etsy search. So make sure that you're looking at the right things. If marketing and SEO, if that is where most of your traffic is coming from, and way more of your traffic is coming from, marketing and SEO than it is from Etsy search, then maybe pay more attention to the trainings and things related to Google SEO, because it's likely that you've got a really unique product and you're able to kind of outrank people on Google. But ranking on Google, that's the whole internet. If you sell silver jewelry, you're competing with every website, all of them, Tiffany and Co., all these big websites who have $1 million teams who optimize their website and every single page on that website to be the very best that it can be for search. That's who you're competing against. So unless you've got a super duper unique product that is just, rocking it on Google and your marketing and SEO section is through the roof, I wouldn't worry about it all that much.
Yeah. The only shops that I've seen in many, many years of looking at people's shops that were doing really well for Google, one that springs to mind, and if you're in here, hi. But it was a guy that was selling super rare vintage comics, and his titles were exactly perfect. The name of the comic, that episode, whatever. I'm not much in comics, but he knew exactly what it was. So there wasn't many of those things about because they were super rare. And what people were searching for was very simply the exact words he had to put in his title. So it was very easy for him to rank on Google. For the rest of us, not so much. And also that Etsy marketing and SEO, no, sorry, yeah, marketing and SEO is not just Google, it's your offsite ads as well. So, and even Google Ads has a different algorithm than Google has a different algorithm than Etsy. So yeah, unless you're getting absolutely tons of traffic from Etsy already and have time to go and try and broaden your reach, most of us are not going to do great for Google.
Yeah, I just popped mine up just out of curiosity. And in the last 30 days, let's see, Etsy app and other pages was 2,782 visits. Etsy search was 1,710 visits, and marketing and SEO was 427.
Yeah,
So
quite the difference.
yeah. Let's see. Okay, I think that we're good to go ahead and show off that cool article that Etsy published yesterday, and I'll pop it into the chat for you all if you would like to follow along with us.
This one?
Yes, that one. The one you were so excited about earlier.
It wasn't me. This was StreamYards that was so excited about this one. Yeah, so the wonderful Debbie spotted this one right away. It just came out yesterday. Definitely very interesting. Strengthening new shop onboarding to keep our community safe. I'll skip to the good bits. So Etsy saying we'll be making changes over the next few months, but they'll only apply to newly created shops. So don't freak out with your existing shop. But if you decide to open an additional shop, your new shop could be subject to these new requirements. So we've got, and we're just going to zip through this, you can read it properly. Adding an enhanced identity check to the shop setup process. So yeah, they're going to want some photo ID and a selfie. So your driving license and a picture of you. So I know some people are going to be fine with this, some people not so much, but this is to prove you are who you say you are. And this is the interesting one, I think, that everyone's interested in. Introducing a shop setup fee to support enhanced security and verification. So new shops will have to pay a one-time setup fee of $15 before they can open for business. In my opinion, this is, at the minute in time, Etsy is so popular because the barrier to entry is so low. You can just open a shop. So this is sort of making a barrier for the people that are going to open 200 shops, sell loads of stuff they shouldn't, not deliver them to the customers and run away. This will hopefully stop them a ton.
Yeah, I had a couple people who had said like $15 isn't going to stop scammers, but I'm like, well, it could, because not only are they going to have to prove their identity, but a lot of these people, they do open, 10 different shops selling a bunch of crap that they bought, on Alibaba and are passing off as handmade. I think that $15, especially if that goes towards more support, and these new shops are less likely to immediately get shut down when they're not doing anything wrong, which is a huge issue that we've been seeing. Shops that are handmade are getting shut down with, and Etsy says, that they're ineligible to open. I even as an existing shop owner, I would donate $15. I would donate $15 a month to have support.
Yeah, I know it's a bit of a shock because it's almost got to the point nowadays where you expect to be able to set up a business for free. Like if you're doing some kind of print on demand things, you don't necessarily have any kind of outlay. Whereas in the past, we used to have quite a lot of outlay to start a business. So $15 hopefully won't be too much for genuine people who are struggling and want to open a shop and want to do well, but it will hopefully stop the people, or at least make them think twice, because it's not a bad thing to be slowing down new shops coming in and checking that they're decent as they come in. So I'm kind of happy about this. And then the third point is exploring changes to payment schedules for new shops. This doesn't really say a whole lot about what they're meaning by it, but it says these changes may affect how long new shops need to wait for their funds. We're making these updates to help ensure sellers who are getting started can fulfill their orders or provide refunds when needed. So I'm guessing this is the same thing again. They're wanting to make sure that if there's something dodgy with a new person, they still have the money and can refund the buyer before the shop owner runs away with all the money, basically.
Yeah, it sounds like an extension on payment reserves, which I'm not a huge fan of the reserves, because I understand for the sellers who make, handmade items and ship them out, and they have to make sure that they've got the supply costs covered. Like, I can see how this could be a challenge, but we also have to remember that we're all wanting the same thing right now, which is less scammers. We want less ineligible competition. So people who should not be allowed to sell on Etsy because they're not following Etsy's guidelines. Less of these people who just open a ton of shops and don't ever ship anything. Like, there's a lot of great reasons why Etsy might put this into place. It does suck. We just had our payment reserve lifted in my own new shop, and it was really hard because we're print on demand. So we really didn't have very much like in pocket profit during the reserve period, because a lot of your cash is going to your print provider from those sales. And we were already pricing at the top of our industry, but we got the payout afterwards, and now everything's good. So it sucks, but maybe it needs to suck a little bit. It needs to suck just enough that it keeps sucky people from, being sucky.
I agree. And I know it's going to be difficult for new sellers, but I guess what we're all going to have to do if you're opening a new shop, or if you haven't started your shop yet, is we have to think of this more like an old school business and get a little bit of money under your back to start with for the first couple of months until Etsy makes sure you're okay. And hopefully with this happening, I haven't seen anywhere, I'm just hoping this will mean if the shops that are coming in are now going to be decent or more decent, then there'll be less reserves on people who've proven themselves to be good.
Yeah.
I certainly hope. So yeah, let us know what you think. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't think that anybody thinks that Etsy didn't have to do something. There definitely is a problem, and it's a good thing they're addressing it. I didn't see this coming, but I think it's a good way to address it. And I think it's kind of not uncommon either, is it? I think like Amazon withhold your money to start with, and so that it's kind of normal.
Same with the
So
IDs. I mean, there are tons of platforms that require you to have an ID to that. I mean, you're starting a business. Like, why would you not show identification? And scammers and people who create these bots, we have to also remember that they don't want their real identity out there. I mean, there's going to be some smarty pants who are probably going to figure out some way to fake their identity, but it should help a percentage. And I don't think that we're going to roll out all of the awful scams on Etsy, but if we can just get rid of like a decent percentage, I think it'll make a good difference in our overall user experience. And like Brian said, $8 on Twitter stopped a huge chunk of the bots on Twitter as well. So, I mean, why not try it? Like, what does Etsy have to lose right now? Pam is going to have her Q4 overview right after Q&A ends, right?
yep, we'll have 15 minutes and then we'll dive on. I'm saying we because myself and Brian were nerding out over graphs this afternoon, and someone, I think it was Anna, suggested it's like, you guys should go live together about this. So I was like, Brian, do you want to come? I've never had someone on on my channel video with me, so that should be fun. But yeah, we'll go over the Q4 there.
I went ahead and put the link in the chat, guys. So right when this stream ends, you can go straight to Pam's channel because she's immediately going to be going live with Brian. If you're curious about Etsy sales, what the holiday season looked like, how it compared to, other past years.
Yep,
Definitely
we've got graph between my data and Brian's data. We've got graphs back to 2017 just now. If you like graphs, we're probably going to nerd out. So I apologize already.
Nerds.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely I'll have to watch the replay. But that sounds absolutely awesome. I haven't even had a chance to, other than the screenshots that you and Brian both posted in the eRank group today, I haven't even had a chance to look at the Q4 report yet. So I'm just gonna watch your live.
Yeah, I'd forgot about it, and then Debbie reminded me, so I got the conference call. But now, because I had the webinar and the conference call, it's all muddled up in my head. Oh, that was something else I was going to say about the webinar that we watched today. Also, wait until we get the replay so we can see it without the glitches, because some of the things that guy said could be taken out of context, because quite a lot of the time he was being cut off mid-sentence.
That's true.
So, yeah. We could have missed some important clarifications, because we all do it, especially when you're live. If someone asks you something, your mouth starts going, and then you're like, oh, I didn't mean it exactly like how it came out of my mouth there.
Oh, and that sucks when you're live too. It's an art form. For those who have never live streamed to the extent that Pam and I do, you have to be so careful. And even if you are as clear as, think about when you're having a normal conversation with your family and you fumble over your words and you're like, wait, that's not what I meant. Hold on. Let me re-explain. You do that live and 600 people are like, wait, I don't hear anything else other than the wrong thing that you just told me. La, 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 la. And then it just, that thing becomes a fact. And there's a whole catalog of lore behind it. It turns into a thing. But
Yeah. I totally know, because while that was live, I was with you guys in Slack, I was with you guys in Facebook. So he's saying something and someone's like, OMG, and I'm like, I can't hear anything.
And I saw you in the chat of the asking, is there going to be a replay of this? I saw you in the chat during the webinar. I'm messaging Pam, did you hear what he just said? It was so funny.
I was trying to dive in, and when he's saying stuff, I was trying to get the Q&A going, can you clarify what you actually mean with that? But you didn't get to any of my questions.
Yeah. And then I wouldn't have even remembered unless Anna had mentioned it. We're having Anthony on. It's all the crossover episodes. Brian is going to be on Pam's channel right after this ends. And then tomorrow at noon Eastern, we're abducting Anthony from eRank, and me and Mark are going to be questioning him on the Friday Bean. It's going to be an interrogation. We're going to interrogate him, but it's
exciting.
yeah, if you guys want to come and ask him questions tomorrow, we're going to have some fun there, but lots of good stuff. I mean, really, nothing has changed. Let's just, like, other than the process for new shops, I think that anytime Etsy does like a webinar or they publish an article, unless you're a brand new shop or you haven't opened yet or you're thinking about opening a new shop, nothing that Etsy has done this week is really that big a deal. And in fact, I dare say that if you have an existing shop, everything's good. Like, everything's cool. The webinar today wasn't about anything new. We haven't discovered anything new that we didn't really already know in some of the things that we are questionable about.
Yeah. One new thing from the quarterly report, I'll do a sneak thing here because we have no details about this, but you guys ready for a secret? It was a throwaway comment. Loyalty program for customers.
Woo! We don't have to keep track of that stuff on our own anymore, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's all the information we have about it, basically.
Ooh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now my brain is spinning. I remember with my first shop a few years ago, because when you got a repeat, is it still like that where there's a little star beside their name if they're a repeat customer?
Yes.
Yeah, I used to keep track of my repeat buyers, and I never advertised it, but I would occasionally, like, give little gifts and things, if they'd ordered several times, but I had to keep track of that all on my own. So a loyalty program, like maybe like tiers of discounts that they can unlock. Oh, there's so many possibilities.
Yeah, we don't know. And literally, he just was talk, loyalty program. And there was a slide that went by with it on the bottom. And I was like, wait, what? Let's not just stop there. Come on. So yeah, that's the only little nugget. Well, there's maybe a little something extra, but you have to join me later for that. So.
Oh, you're good.
I don't want to derail this. We've only got like just under 20 minutes left, and there looks like there's a few comments come in. Hopefully some questions.
Nope, no questions.
Goodness me, guys.
So yeah, if you guys can fill up our last, less than 20 minutes, I mean, don't fill it up because we probably won't be able to get to 600 different questions, but maybe if you can give us like 5, that should get us through.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to pull up Anna's point though, right? Not quite a question, but it is very cool. Just search for a term on Google Shopping and Etsy results were included amongst the 13 other retailers on the first page. Better to optimize for Etsy. Yeah, that is the good point, is a lot of the terms, what shows up, if anything, is going to show up on Google. Google Shopping's a different thing as well. But I nearly forgot, you get the Etsy marketplace results. So if you search for ring, what might show up is the Etsy marketplace page for ring. So that if someone clicks on it, they'll be taken into the search page on Etsy. So that is still, you want your SEO to be good for Etsy, and then Etsy does the SEO so that the search page is good for Google. So it works like that.
Marie asked the $1 million question. How long realistically will it take to get a shop active enough to make a living from it? There are so many factors and no way to answer any of those. If you are selling bacon flavored hats for cats, it's probably going to take you a really, really long time. If you've discovered the new hot trend that was just invented yesterday and you're the first seller to do it, you might be an overnight success. The unfortunate thing is that if any business knew how long it's going to take for their business to get off the ground, no businesses would ever fail. One of my favorite brand stories was, I think I've told you this one before, Pam, but it's hilarious. It was 2 German brothers. I think they were brothers, and they had a female roommate, and they observed all the struggles this female roommate went through during her menstrual cycle, and they wanted to find a way to help this poor woman. So they invented pinky gloves, which are pink latex gloves that women can keep in their purse so that when they're changing their feminine products, they can keep their hands clean. And women tore these men apart. If you Google pinky gloves, it is hilarious. And then they were fine. All the women are like, we have been doing this for thousands of years. Do you think that we need your trash pink gloves? Like it was so funny. And these men like pulled back and they're like, okay, after careful consideration, we have realized that our products were somewhat offensive, and we have decided to discontinue this project. But with that in mind, they put a lot of money behind this stupid invention of theirs, and it failed. So there is no way to know until you try. However, make sure that you do some good research. Like these men clearly did not. Do some good research, do some keyword research, and you know, there are so many areas that contribute to success. So
Yeah. And I'm going to be the downer here a little bit as well. And I don't really think people should be aiming to make a living entirely from their Etsy shop, because I don't even know if this is an analogy, but that's building your house on a single stilt. Basically, that's a very sugary place.
Rented land. You're building your house on rented land.
Yeah. That makes a whole lot more sense. I've just got a one-legged house in my in my brain now. But for everybody, this is something I learned a long time ago going into business by myself, is diversify. Don't rely into, like, we know it's a lot of work and we've got to build up on Etsy, but have something else as well. Etsy is great and you can probably make some good money from it, but be working on a side project at the same time. Because it scares me. Like, how often do we see in Facebook groups and everything people saying, what's happened to Etsy? My sales have died and all my bills are paid through Etsy. And you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's where I learned when I started going into business for myself. I started as a driving instructor, and driving instructors I was super busy in the summer, but really quiet at Christmas. So that's why I started making my felt things, because they're giftables. They sell super well at Christmas, not so well in the summer. So I was able to overlap by really diversifying.
Yeah. And you can still plan to make a living from your business, but don't put all your eggs in one basket. And also look into additional revenue streams. I have so many revenue streams. Like I've got a course, I work for eRank, I have a Redbubble, I have an Etsy, I have YouTube monetized. God, I've got a bunch more and I can't even think of them. And and it's just money there's so many different ways that you can add little flows. If you, for example, are a crochet shop and maybe you've got a good social media presence on like Instagram or TikTok, maybe you could start getting some Amazon affiliate links, and maybe you're giving ideas for crochet hooks that you love, and then you could start promoting those crochet hooks with an Amazon affiliate link and make a little bit of money doing that. There's lots of cool little ways that you can have additional cash flow that you could tie directly to your brand, or serve as a its own little isolated thing. So lots of cool ways to do it. You just can't expect them all to make millions of dollars. But what my granny always said was pennies make dollars. So all of my teeny tiny little ones, like Redbubble made like $80 last year. YouTube does pretty well. But when you put them all together, you got, a decent amount at the end of the year.
Yeah, we have a saying, it's many a mickle makes a muckle, which is lots of littles build into a big.
Of course you do, Pam. Of course you do.
Oh yeah, we have all the sayings. They're not all just made up about like one-legged houses, but you guys aren't going to forget that one-legged house now.
No, never. Amy said, are you going anywhere in the US to see the solar eclipse in April? In my driveway, and I'm gonna hope that it's a clear day.
Oh, is there a solar eclipse happening?
Oh,
Cool.
a major one. Let's
Yeah.
see.
Be careful of your eyes, people.
Yeah, right. Go get your goggles. They've got some cheapo ones on Amazon that you can buy. Don't look into the sun.
Yeah. The last time I went, the specific was seeing one. I worked in a chemical plant, and we all just went out with like welders' helmets on, so makes it much easier.
Yeah. Let's see. And then yeah, Jen, we covered this pretty in depth at the beginning, but Etsy search is going to be your Etsy SEO. Marketing and SEO is going to be everything else.
Yeah. If you're not sure on your stats page, you can click, I think it's see more, and Etsy actually explains. But marketing and SEO is views that come from search engines like Google. Etsy search is views that come from people searching on Etsy on the desktop, and the app comes from the app. um, yeah, so it's confusing. And oh yeah, I don't have it yet, but someone in the group just posted up that Etsy's doing a bit more of a breakdown of stats showing what our customers are doing, like how many abandoned carts and all sorts of extra data for the month. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't had a chance, so that's something we'll have to talk about at another point
during your live stream in just a few minutes.
Yeah, because I totally have time to research that. In the 3.5 seconds 15 minutes turnaround time, hopefully.
And there's a chance that we won't be here next week either, because it's the day after my birthday and Pam's unavailable. So unless Brian, if you and Anthony want to wing it next week, you're still here.
Yeah, I'm getting taken out for my birthday, which was a month ago, and Starla's having her birthday.
birthday. Let's see. We've got 2 more questions sliding in at the last minute. Rachy Bird, do either of you currently use Pinterest to market your stores? I do. Do you? I'm pretty sure you do.
Badly. Yeah, Pinterest used to do great for me. I won't say I knew how to use it, but I've lost track of it. But I will say I've seen a lot of questions in the group, people asking about Pinterest. So I have decided I want to try and focus on that if I get 2 minutes to myself and Etsy stops doing stuff. So yes, but I'm not very good at it.
Yeah, I'm taking a peek. I've only been using Pinterest marketing for my new shop since January 7th. We decided to wait until after the holidays because we just opened the shop in September. And it looks like I've, in that time frame, had 49 pin clicks, which would have directly led those individuals to our shop. So not terrible, not awful. I've got some good impressions, but it looks like my impressions are mostly from quotes from the books. So there's a couple for my items, but my most popular pins appear to be ones related to quotes from the books that we're licensed for. So, I mean, here's the thing. It doesn't take that much time out of your day. So,
yeah, it does take time. Any of the social medias or search engines or everything takes time. So what you want to look at is if I got 20 views this month and I get 30 views this month, it's going in the right direction. Or like Starla's doing, looking at which ones are driving the most traffic, which ones are getting the most clicks, which ones are getting the most engagement. I will say just now, I'm not an expert, but if you're using videos on Etsy, which you should be, because that is one thing that SEO guy an hour ago did mention quite a bit, TikTok seems relatively low barrier to entry. I was just posting a random video a day and it was growing. It was doing way better than me putting up secret videos on YouTube. So I'd give TikTok a go if you're looking for things.
Let's see. Etsy ads, do they work or a waste of money? It's similar to asking, going to the casino, will you make money or will you lose money? Etsy ads are a gamble. Regardless, there's really no, you have to have a great product. You can't put $100 in ad revenue behind a turd and offer everybody this turd and hope somebody wants it. It's still unlikely that people want it. So you still gotta have a great product. You still have to have good SEO. You still have to have great product photography. And then, my little analogy is always to bet on your winning race horses. You're not going to go to the racetrack to see the horses race and bet all your money on a horse that's never won a race before. You're going to look for the horse that has a good track record of winning races, and you're going to put your money behind that horse. So look at your listings and what's already performing well. If you've got a listing that sells well already, you already know that people like it. So if you put ad money behind it, well, that just means that listing is going to do even better.
Yeah. And can't just turn them on and forget about them. There are things you can do. You can go into them and look at the keywords that they're showing you for and say they're irrelevant, and hopefully that turns them off. You can look at how listings are doing and turn off the ones that aren't good for you. But there is absolutely no guarantee that you will get any sales for your money. So don't spend more than you can afford to completely lose.
Yeah.
They work for some people. They work better if you have a fantastic listing that customers love, and or you're in a really niche that you don't have much ad competition against. Because like anything, the ads will be more expensive the more competitive the keywords that are aiming for. For me, yeah, it's been a waste of money since they changed the ads a few years back. Some people do great off of them. And some people, it gets the ball rolling. Do you know, if nothing's happening, or it can be, if you're not getting seen at all, you probably don't even know if your listings are good or bad. So it could be a little experiment to find out what your best listings are.
That's true. All right, I think we got one last one from Tracy. So you think TikTok Market /shop is okay to try? I've never tried it, but always ask yourself. This is a good time to have a last minute little inspiring talk with everybody. When you have a question of, is this worth it? Is it worth it to try Pinterest? Is it worth it to try TikTok? Is it worth it to try blah, blah, blah? What's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that could happen? If you tried it, what's the worst that could happen? Well, the worst that could happen is that you don't make any sales. Or the worst that could happen is, you waste a little bit of time getting it set up. If the worst that can happen isn't that big a deal, and the best case scenario is something awesome, absolutely do it. But don't just jump on to like the TikTok Market /shop. I don't know anything about TikTok Shop. I've kind of looked into it, but not that much. Don't just set it up and assume that that's all you have to do. Similar to using eRank. You don't just do your SEO and then leave it and never look at it again. Expect to spend some time learning. If you have no time to learn something new, it's very unlikely that you're going to be successful as something that you don't spend a lot of time optimizing for. I don't know anything about it, but I'm sure that there are YouTubers who have great videos on how to best optimize for TikTok Shop. Give yourself like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to study that and do a good deep dive on that specific thing.
Yeah, I will say I wasn't talking about a TikTok Shop. I'm thinking of looking into it, but there's a couple of things that are putting me off so far. TikTok was sort of marketed by some of those kind of gurus as the how to get rich quick places. So a lot of people jumped in there, and TikTok is now cracking down hard on IP infringing items.
Yep.
So be careful there. We should be careful everywhere, but don't think you'll get away with it on TikTok. So a lot of people are having to leave TikTok. But anything that's become so busy and flooded is kind of going to be a little difficult to get seen in just now. I was just talking of it as a way to build up your brand, not even as a way to showcase your shop, because you have to get a certain number of followers before you can even link them to your shop or whatever, but just to build up some followers. And then this is with any other thing, you shouldn't be going, oh, look at me on Instagram and Facebook and everything. Right, go to my shop, go to my shop. Think of it as these are all little places to collect buckets of followers so that when you need to, you can communicate with them there. And basically, if you showcase your work and people know the name of your shop because it's your TikTok account, they'll find you, basically.
Well, Tracy, I know you had one more question, but maybe hold on to that because Pam has to get scoodle-dooting over to her stream on her channel that's going to be starting in 15 minutes with Brian. So maybe take your comment and pop it over. Here's the link to the stream that Pam is about to do. And maybe she would be able to weigh in on it there. But we want to make sure that we give her some time in case there's any tech gremlins as she's getting set up. But guys, thanks so much for hanging out. We're going to see if Brian and Anthony want to do Q&A next week, but there is a possibility that we won't have Q&A next week because Pam and I will both be unavailable. So just be aware that if you don't see a stream scheduled that, you know, there might not be one. But thanks so much for hanging out.
Yeah. And don't forget Starla and Anthony tomorrow.
Yes, noon Eastern on my channel.
Right. Well, see you soon, some of you. And see you.